Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my plastic surgery journey. Now, at the time you're watching this, I probably have not had my surgery yet, or I may have just had it. Depends on how quickly I roll these out. But I'm going to start off. I have my notes down below as usual, and I'm going to give you guys some information. I had surgery called vertical sleeve gastrectomy, done in February of 2017. I had scar tissue that had built up around my stomach, causing a band, which was causing me to constantly throw up, being unable to eat anything that was solid, so like chicken, steak, whatever, anything that was solid wouldn't go down, but I could take things that are called slider foods. Basically, I could eat chips and ice cream and everything that's not healthy for you, besides protein shakes. Yes, I know. It's like, well, why didn't you just drink protein shakes, you crazy lady? Because if you drink protein shakes all the time, you know that eventually you get sick of protein shakes and you just want to have some ice cream or whatever it is. Anyways, moving on. Well, because of that, I started to put on a lot of weight. I couldn't understand why I was throwing up all the time. And so I went to a doctor. The doctor did some exploration basically and found that I had a hiatal hernia, which is basically up here, and that's what causes acid reflux. Well, not only the cause, but can cause acid reflux. It allows the acid to come back up and into your mouth, which gives you the heartburn, all that jazz. I'm still sick. Sorry guys, I apologize. So anyways, I started out with all of this, deciding that I had to do something. And when I weighed in, my official weigh-in was 300.8 pounds. So that is not something I usually put out there. I'm not proud of it by any means. I don't think that I should be proud of it, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with people who, are overweight. I struggled with my weight basically all my life. I've had points of being thinner, I've had points of being heavier. When I initially had the surgery to repair the scar tissue, my stomach was so damaged that the doctor converted it to a vertical sleeve. Now during that, they did take some pictures of my stomach, the stuff that they removed, I should say, and they actually inflated it, used a small needle to inflate what was left of my stomach. And the surgeon actually said that I had one of the largest stomachs he had ever seen in any of his patients. He said that it was not due to overeating, that it was a genetic thing, and that no matter what I did, I was never going to lose weight like I wanted, and nor was I going to be able to keep it off, because I had a gigantic stomach. He said, you were always going to feel you were always going to feel hungry. And the only way you were ever going to lose weight was to constantly live with that feeling of hunger. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that's not the way I like to live. So, that being said, I did have VSG. That's what it's called. So if you see it from here on out, that's what I'm calling it. It's much easier to say, or vertical sleeve. And with that, I've lost a significant amount of weight. On my last official weigh-in, I was at 139.6 pounds. Since then, I've kind of balanced back and forth with starting some extra antidepressants and or mood stabilizers, and starting on prednisone. It did cause my weight to start creeping up again, but just within a normal level. I give myself a window of about 5 to 10 pounds that I'm allowed to fluctuate. And that's because if I just go back to bad habits, then I'm gonna put myself right back in the same spot. So having VSG doesn't mean that I can just eat what I want and do what I want. I still have to exercise. I still have to eat healthy. I do eat junk from time to time. I also have to monitor how much I eat, because there is the ability for me to eat too much, and I will feel sick for it. And this isn't supposed to be that kind of video, but I want to put that out there before I move on. that it wasn't easy. So if you think that this was the easy route by any means, like, I had to have a physical, like, deformation removed, which caused so much damage that that I had to have some of my stomach removed, guys. Okay, so just let that sink in for a moment. Now, I didn't initially come right out and tell all my friends and family this is what I did, because I knew that there would be some judgment for it. I knew that people would say, like, oh, that's the easy way out, or, oh, well, I know so-and-so got sick from this, or, oh, blah, 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 blah. You know, I didn't want any outside influence. I wanted it to be just mine and my family alone's decision on what we should do. And this is what we chose. Now, to move on, I obviously have loose skin. Now, most of my loose skin doesn't bother me that much. Insurances don't cover cosmetic procedures. They only cover what's considered medically necessary, and that is why I'm having a paniculectomy, which means they will be removing the small amount of skin, not small, the large amount of skin that hangs from my abdomen. I will try and insert some pictures at the end of this video. That way, if you don't want to see, you don't have to watch. This is also something very personal to me that I am putting out there, that it gives me a lot of anxiety. I'm just petting Stone, guys. He's down here at my feet, and he looked up at me. He could sense that I was getting a little, whew. I'm taking a moment to ground myself, guys. Give me a second. I'm feeling just so blessed to have this opportunity, and I want to take you guys along on my journey, because that's how it should have been in the first place. I shouldn't have felt embarrassment to lose weight. And I guess I should also mention, in case you're wondering, I'm about 5'6"-ish, 5'6.5". Just kind of depends on how proper I am that day. So I am within a normal, healthy range now. I was not to start with. I was considered morbidly obese, and most of that weight I put on between having the issue with my stomach and also dealing with postpartum depression that was, at the time, undiagnosed. I was aware that I was going through postpartum depression. However, I was too embarrassed to admit that I was going through it, which is stupid, because I had friends and have friends that go through it and are going through it right now. But I was so worried that I wasn't going to be like the perfect person and the perfect mom, like, that it made me less of a person to have those feelings, to be sad after having a beautiful baby, and then to struggle. And I mean, this kind of goes into like a PPD video, and I will make something like that. But the point being is, I packed on a lot of weight after the delivery of my son. I didn't put much on during my pregnancy, but afterwards, it definitely started creeping and creeping. And honestly, my husband is the most amazing man. And I know I say that a lot, and people are probably like, oh, but he has loved me at every shape, every size, even skin as it is. You know, I still have body issues. I have body dysmorphia. Some days I can see myself and I think that I look super cute and beautiful, and that goes with the mental part. And then other days I see myself as the old 300-pound me. And so this is kind of like that next step of taking away one thing that reminds me that that's who I used to be, and that I could possibly go back there, because I don't want to go back. I'm happier now. Well, that's a lie. Most people would say I was happier as a obese woman than I am as a thinner woman now. I would agree to an extent, because I was happier because my mental health hadn't taken such a huge hit. now it has, so I'm not as happy as I used to be, but I'm happy in a different sense. Like the fact that I can, when I'm not sick and not sprained and all of that stuff, I could keep up with my son a lot easier, and that I could do things a little easier. Like I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine all the things I've gone through in this last year and a half-ish or so, doing it as the old me. Like I don't know, that's hard to explain, and maybe I'll come back to it, but that's where we're gonna leave it because it's getting way too long-winded. So how did I get here? Well, I had surgery, I lost the weight, then I had the skin. So what I began doing is I began going to doctors for my skin irritations, the tearing, infections, and having it documented. That's the big thing with plastic surgery, guys. You have to get it documented, otherwise your insurance is not going to believe you. After a few visits, my amazing PCP, primary care physician, sorry guys, when you have a whole team of doctors, you just start cutting their names down, so I'll try to remember to do that at some point. So my primary care physician wrote me a referral to a plastic surgeon. Well, the plastic surgeon that was in my area actually relocated. So I found out where she went to. She has really good success, really good reviews. People really enjoyed her, but she decided to transfer to a different hospital, which I'm okay with. So I found out where she was at, and I set up a free consultation with her. And at the time I was working, my mental health had taken a very strong dive, very strong. I was cracking. I put on the mask every day of, hey, how are you? I'm Nikki and I'm great. When really underneath I was miserable, I was sad, I was angry, I was hurting and I didn't understand why. And it was just not good. So my first initial appointment, I backed out of. I was sick, I got a cold that week. And so I was like, oh, just another thing wrong, another thing in my life that's just terrible, and this is just a sign. And then I had a client that needed something on that same day, and I've got to help my client. They come before me because I tend to be that person who gives all of myself to others and values little of myself. So I would walk across nails carrying somebody and be bleeding the entire time just so that they won't get hurt. And that's just part of my personality. It does link into my BPD, which hopefully you'll see the video either in the cards or coming up soon. I'm not sure which one will come first. But that is like one of the key characteristics of it, is just kind of putting others before yourself. And I've always been that way. Well, pretty much my entire life. I've always been considered a defender. We're getting off track, I'm sorry. So anyways, I canceled that appointment. I talked to my therapist about it, and she's like, why are you self-sabotaging? You're right, I am. So I ended up calling and making another appointment. Unfortunately, because I gave up that slot, it meant I had to wait until the end of September to get in. So I realized that my mental health wasn't doing well. I went ahead and scheduled that appointment knowing that in my head, the voices, like my own conscience was telling me, you're not gonna get in, and even when you do, you're gonna get denied. It's never gonna happen for you. Nothing good can happen to you. It's all part of the mental stuff. If you're unaware, check out the mental vlogs. I'll talk more about it there. So I ended up rescheduling. I ended up leaving the job that I was at due to them not wanting to work with my health conditions. They weren't being very understanding of what was going on and just requiring more from me than I had available. It was I'm trying to keep this channel fairly family friendly, but this video is obviously going to be marked as an older video or a mature content video just based on the topic. Basically, things were a shit show. Sorry. So after that, mind you, things had settled down a little bit, still going through mental stuff. I made the trip along with Stone up to my surgeons for my consultation. I was very anxious. I was on high alert. I didn't know what to expect. In my head, it was telling me that it wasn't going to go well. I was terrified of being alone in a city that I'm unfamiliar with. And I had Stone, but I didn't know what to expect from him. This would be the longest trip that he had gone on for a medical procedure. And, you know, dogs have off days. They're not robots. So I wasn't sure how he was going to act. We made it down there early, which gave us time to kind of decompress a little bit. We went to the dog park and burned some energy, and gave me a little bit of time to kind of set in nature and just ground myself. We then went to the surgeon's office, and Stone did some tasking while we were there. He was picking up that I was very, very much anxious and agitated. The staff there was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. They made me feel very comfortable, especially when you're exposing so much of yourself. It's very hard to be like, here it all is, because what they did is they had me get into a robe with nothing underneath it. Not usually one to show my body like that, although we're getting there. And they took pictures of me from every angle. Like, it's a clock on the ground basically, and you take your feet and you sit there and you just pivot the entire time, and they take pictures of you completely stark naked. Just all the pictures. After that was done, they sent that into my insurance along with the documentation stating like what they saw, what they found necessary, and why they felt that the peniculectomy was necessary. From there, I had to wait for either a confirmation from my doctor or the way I found out, which was a letter from my insurance saying that they had approved a peniculectomy with my surgeon. I opened that letter and I cried. I wish I would have known that that's what it was. Like, I wish I would have had a feeling that it was a letter I should have been recording, because David looked over at me and goes, "What's wrong?" And I was just in tears. I was like, I was approved. Like, I was approved. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Gonna leave this video at that. If you'd like more details, please leave them down below. I am going to put some graphic pictures at the end of this, so if you don't want to see them, go ahead and let me say my goodbyes and you can stop the video. If you don't mind seeing it, then just continue on. I will say that there is exposed skin. My body is not perfect. It has wrinkles, hanging skin, stretch marks, imperfections to some, I guess. But it's my life and it's what I live with, and my husband loves it, so I guess I don't care. He is just happy for whatever I want. He loves me no matter what, and that's honestly what true love should be. If you are not in that situation, you should reconsider, because when you find that person that really truly loves you for everything, no matter what, you better keep them. You know, better hold on tight and never let go. So anyways, I'm gonna stop that there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you ring that little bell icon, as that's how you get notified of future videos. Also, please be sure to check out our playlist. We will have a specific one for just as plastics if you want to follow that. We also have a service dog, mental health, physical health. We've got vlogs. We're hitting a lot of territory, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Again, stop now if you don't want to see the pictures. Bye, guys.